Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. It's going to be Caninana, the Zerg bot in the red, taking on VeTerran. VeTerran, very good Terran bot, quite well-rounded for the most part. Not really known as being one of the best bots, but always been a scrapper, can take a map off any bot, it seems. And so we're going to see how well it's going to do against Caninana. I think it'll be an interesting match, as Caninana tends to play late game and fairly safe. But then VeTerran can also go into the late game, but I don't think it's as strong, so we'll see whether it can pull a timing attack off or something. I think it is notable to say Caninana is the highest up on the ladder I think I've ever seen it, or at least in a long time. It's rank number 3 on the SC2 AI ladder, which is where I get all these replays from. And yeah, so Caninana maybe getting some updates that makes it perform a little bit better. And we're just going to see whether VeTerran can maybe catch it off guard a little bit, because Caninana is quite a well-rounded Zerg. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button. Caninana is saying tag Zergling 84 seconds into the match, so if we can hit 84 likes on this video, that would be amazing. We usually hit around that, so give it a little click. And leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them, that's for sure. And yeah, we've got a command center on the way for VeTerran, about to finish up. Just a Marine, but having a second Rax behind this. So going to be going into a bit of a heavy bio play, which is... apologies about that. I requested a phone callback, but no. I actually got the issues resolved with my cell carrier, so I didn't need to swap anymore. So, yes, apologies about that ringing, if anyone thought their phone was ringing. And, yeah. Where was I before I got distracted by that? Yeah, I believe I was going to say VeTerran is one of the bots that's kind of different to watch. Like, it plays quite bio heavy, which we don't necessarily see out of every Terran bot out there. Marine was shooting an Overlord. Unfortunately, its desire to scout was a little bit too hard, so it actually let that Overlord get away, unfortunately. So that Overlord can thank its lucky stars and go take like 3 minutes to regen all that HP. Reaper for VeTerran is going to go into Caninana's main base. It's probably not going to get too much damage done, but it's just scouting out for now. The Zerg bot is getting up a third hatchery already. Getting up a Roach Warren, getting up Burrow as well, of course. And then VeTerran is just getting up a factory, getting a bunker up at the front to be nice and safe, and just powering up off of 2 bases. So we'll see whether it's going to make a 2-base timing happen against Caninana. So far, there's no stim, no combat shield or anything like that started, but it is going for what is a 2-1-1. Not a normal timed or normal looking 2-1-1, but it's got 2 racks, a factory, and a starport. That usually allows for a bit of early bio pushes from the Terran. We'll see if VeTerran's going to go for that. It could always go for something like a Banshee, though. And Banshees can be pretty strong against Zerg bots. We're actually going to have a Widowmine on the way for VeTerran. Combat Shield being researched to give those Marines a little bit of extra HP. But all in all, nothing too crazy. That's I think, fair to expect from a match between VeTerran and Caninana. We will just have to keep... oh, that Reaper just hanging out on that cliff, wants to be a cool guy and is now getting its exercise in. We do have a couple Lings going to chase down that Reaper and actually kill it. Caninana is saying, hey, I'm getting scanned, which is cool that it actually tracks that. I'm not sure what sort of programming... what sort of benefit you'd get from really making your bot take notice scans, but information is always good. And now VeTerran is actually going to be moving out on the map for looking for a little bit of a push. It's quite a few non-upgraded Marines. They may have combat shield by the time this attack hits. There's 19 seconds on the clock for that. A Raven is about to pop out, which could help as well. But it looks like VeTerran is just moving out. We'll see if it's going to be able to cancel the 4th base or not. As this Widowmine wanders forward, it's going to burrow in range of some of those drones. That could drive some of these Zerg units back. Caninana actually programs that Ling to be sacrificial and absorb that Widowmine shot. These Marines now do have combat shield, but this is still a lot of roaches on the high ground. They've got burrow as well. The Zerg bot is going to cancel that hatchery, I guess, feeling a little bit of the heat, and the Raven actually comes on in now as well. Going to allow that base to be canceled. VeTerran is sieging up with its tank. It's Raven. It's pushing on forward. Caninana has lots of queens and roaches to defend against this, though. The tank may get some good shots off. We'll have to wait and see. Marines, though, are being bullied away, so there goes the support for the siege tank. Roaches are going to get on top of that tank and pick it off. And VeTerran got a little bit of damage done with that push, canceling the 4th base, but it does lack its own 3rd base. The Raven is still alive, though, so it can potentially fly back to reveal that command center location. Instead, VeTerran just isn't able to get that up. It's going to send out another SCV. It says, hey, maybe another SCV can get that command center to build. No, not that one. Maybe I'll try another one. That's what it's saying. The Raven is there, but it's actually not revealing that burrowed Zergling, which is quite unfortunate, as that is going to be a big delay for the blue Terran bot. So we'll see if VeTerran is going to eventually deal with that. It is a very difficult programming task for the non-Zerg bots, even I guess for the Zerg bots, to deal with burrowed Lings at their bases. But yeah, VeTerran is coming up a little bit short on that one, unfortunately. Not building a turret or anything at that location, and not just chasing that Ling down. So we'll see if it kills it off by chance so it can get up that expansion. But so far, VeTerran is locked on 2 bases. The Raven does go by. The Ling does finally get killed just by chance, though. That wasn't really VeTerran putting 2 and 2 together and having a response to that situation. That was just good luck that it had a Raven that happened to go near that command center. So VeTerran does get the 3rd base on the way. Caninana, though, is about to get that delayed 4th base up. The Zerg bot is still just powering on up, getting up an infestation pit. 1-1 upgrades on the way. Nothing too formidable yet, but Caninana has got an 80 drone economy, which is very strong. Meanwhile, VeTerran is just getting up a 3rd. It may be under pressure to get a bit of damage done in the near future. I'm not sure if that's going to be possible for long, though, as there is infestors being produced by Caninana, and Caninana is one of the best Zerg bots with infestors. Looks like a couple of overseers are getting chased around. VeTerran is still just playing defensive, chasing after the odd unit Caninana sends around the map. The Terran bot does have that 3rd base getting secured with 2 siege tanks and 4 marauders hanging out there. That's quite the squad. For now, though, VeTerran is producing a battle cruiser. It also likes to build Thors sometimes. We'll see if it's going to make Thors in this matchup. I'd always be down to see how well they do against Caninana. But I am a little bit concerned over the battle cruisers, as Caninana is one of the best Zergs when it comes to dealing with battle cruisers. The blue Terran bot is at 130 supply against the Zerg that's just coming up on 180. Caninana is just going to really outpace VeTerran as far as the production goes right now. The Terran, of course, has mules to try and even that gap up a little bit. But there is going to be an attempted 4th base. However, it's not going to happen due to the presence of that Ling, and I'm not sure VeTerran will ever get up a 4th base against this. There is, yeah, just the SCV trying to expand there. The Raven, though, it's not seemingly programmed to help with that at all. And so that is a place that VeTerran seems to be lacking quite a bit. And I've never really noticed that with VeTerran too much. It's probably, at this point, I'd say, I mean, VeTerran isn't super inactive development, I believe, but it is probably the highest level bot that struggles with those burrowed Lings. Quite the defensive position, though, for VeTerran, as the bio stims back against all these roaches of Caninana, and it's actually a very solid hold for the blue Terran bot, as Caninana throws away a lot of resources in that attack. I mean, lots of Lings died there, a few roaches, but mainly Lings, since they can't just burrow and retreat like the roaches. VeTerran has its Raven be neural parasited, and it just says, nope, you are a foe immediately. Looks like that Ling did somehow get cleaned up at that base. Curious about that, actually. When that Ling left or when it got cleaned up. I might have to rewind to see that. Looks like that battle cruiser, did it get killed or did it teleport home? I believe that one must have got killed because that is a fresh BC. No, it must have just teleported on home, pardon me. And VeTerran is just getting super duper aggressive here with its bio, charging on in, barely giving me time to commentate. The tanks are sieged up at the back, getting some big shots off. It's 2-1 bio against 2-1 Zerg, which is usually pretty good for the Terran. There's tons of medivacs to support this army. And man, oh man, VeTerran's just power defense and then power attack is working out pretty darn well. Now, there is still a very strong Zerg economy behind this. Caninana has got 4, getting up to 5 bases. So we'll see if VeTerran can actually get critical damage done or not. But for now, this 3rd base is being, or 4th base is being ransacked, pardon me. Tanks are sieging up the natural. Caninana is a little bit afraid. A battle cruiser does get neural parasited and is now one of the enemy. The tanks are going to siege up and pull on out. The Terran bot has got a 4th base building, which is good to see. One Hydra, though, is being problematic with that. Some of the Terran units are being caught on the retreat. I'm not really sure why VeTerran has elected to retreat, but it's taken everything home, losing lots of units on the retreat with the Neural Parasite. Tanks against tanks, Vikings against Vikings. That is great efficiency on the Infestors. VeTerran is still getting up that 4th base. It did deal some damage to Caninana, but I'm not sure it was enough as we're seeing a big fungal growth hit that Terran army. Auto turret trying to help out and do what it can. VeTerran is still pumping out a decent amount of units, more tanks being made, another battle cruiser, more Marines. But the creep really has been pushed up, and that seemed to have been VeTerran's one chance to take the good fight that it needed, and it just didn't happen. And let's take a look here. Neural Parasite catches another Viking. VeTerran is fighting with just a portion of the supply it needs to move forward. I think it would be better if it just built up and then went for another big push like it did. The Terran bot does have +2 armor on the way. However, Caninana is researching 3-3 at the minute. Still, though, VeTerran is trying to push on in. It is just a very aggressive Terran bot. The tanks are going to start sieging away and start shelling some of these units. Medivacs are supporting the bio as long as they can. As long as VeTerran hangs around the siege tanks, it might not take the worst trade in the world. Still, though, Caninana is just pouncing on top of this army, taking some okay trades, and it's got a superior economy to its opponent. Although it's not as superior as you'd think with this 4th base up for VeTerran. VeTerran has got quite the production and quite the income itself. Still, though, it's just really got to protect these siege tanks. There's 4 tanks now sieged up, which is no joke. A battle cruiser comes on in, Yamato cannons a queen down, and VeTerran has got another push that's going quite nicely. Neural Parasite does catch the BC, though, so that's pretty much a goner. Building battle cruisers against Caninana is not necessarily a recipe for success. We do have Lings taking out some of these siege tanks. Looks like one of them goes down, and the others have been saved for now, so they're still shelling, but lots of Lings are being produced by Caninana to deal with the tanks, which I almost think is a bit of a dynamic adjustment to make more Lings to deal with the tanks, which is very darn cool. Meanwhile, VeTerran is still scrapping on the left side of the map. All those medivacs are pushed back. The Terran supply is kind of inflated by this high medivac count, whereas it doesn't necessarily have that much bio on the ground. The Marines and Marauders are trading out against the Hydras as well as they can. We've got +3 attack on the way for VeTerran, so it won't be at that much of an upgrade disadvantage the longer this game goes on. Still, though, we'll have to keep tabs on whether VeTerran's going to try and get up a 5th base or just keep this pushing party going. An Infestor caught a BC, which is in a bit of trouble. Massive fungal growths catching these medivacs. It was a double fungal. More of the Terran bio is being surrounded as the Lings spill forward. They've only got +1 attack, but they do have adrenal glands. The 4th base of VeTerran is in quite a bit of trouble. The 3rd base is now even being attacked, so this is a big disruption to the blue Terran. The 4th has to lift off to be saved. Can VeTerran stabilize? It's looking a little dicey, although the Terran's bio has grouped up a bit at 78 supply to 90, so not the worst difference in the world. But I'm not sure that 4th base is going to be able to land again with that creep spread that far. There is a Raven out, but I don't know if those tumors will be killed or if they're far enough forward to block that hatchery. I think they are from the looks of it. So VeTerran's economy isn't exactly getting better. Meanwhile, Caninana is just sailing. Fungal growths are hitting this Terran army. The micro of VeTeran's units is pretty darn good, but Caninana is showing us that it's a very lethal late-game Zerg. The Lings being incredibly effective right now, just closing the distance. Roaches lurking underground. And then Veterans still just locked on 3 bases now. 1 BC trying to defend this location against Lings is doing a good job, but there's Hydras there too. Veteran hasn't even really tried to land this 4th base, it seems, which is not ideal. And yeah, there's Infestors lurking about, looking for potential fungal growths. There's no 4th for the Terran. There's creep all over the place. That's the problem with these Zerg bots. I mean, their creep spread is so darn lethal. As Caninana has got all the income in the world, it's dwarfing Veteran in supply. And a scan does go down, but still no 4th base resecured for Veteran. There's not that many units left for the Terran. There's 8 Marines, 2 Banshees, and a tank. I think this situation's got pretty dire. The tank is even shooting the friendly Marines, neural parasites from Caninana. Definitely a beast of their own. We don't see human players doing plays like that too often because it requires so much attention, but these bots, they're so darn good at multitasking. That's where their strength really is, as they'll just push in multiple locations. Caninana is spilling forward. Veteran showed us that it's a pretty good bot, but as far as taking on a top Zerg like Caninana, it is quite a tall order. And there's the neural parasite once again, a Banshee being shot down by its own turret. Caninana winning the game with style. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched all the way to the end of this one and you enjoyed it, but you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You can click that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up new videos. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bots. And of course, click that like button, as that helps out with the YouTube algorithm quite a bit. If you do want to support the channel, there's various ways to do that in the description. And thank you very much to everyone that does support the channel. And that is going to be it for this one. Veteran had quite a bit of production, but not the economy to support it to the level it wanted. I think it's still researching 3-3. So Veteran's got heart, but Caninana is really just designed with that late game in mind, and once it gets there, it's really difficult to do something about it unless your bot itself is designed in that late game position. Like once Caninana hits 200 supply, it doesn't lose a ton of games. Most of the games we see it lose are matches that it doesn't get to that point. Command centers are floating around. The lights are on, but no one's home for Veteran at this point. GG gets called. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.